Happy Saturday, December 21st, people. The first day of winter, which actually felt like late spring, given that we've had, 62 degree weather. It was very nice today. I had to get out and enjoy, and I hope you guys did too. This segment, I'm going to touch on, a little bit on relationships and the little kinks and why there's misunderstandings between men and women as much as I can. I called in on a radio show this evening because the topic was, ladies, what do you bring to the table? You want men to be strong. You want men to have good sex. You want men to buy the flowers. This, that, and the third. What do you bring to the table other than being a woman? Well, fellas, let me tell you, from a woman's perspective, most women feel that they go into relationships thinking that you're not going to stay. Point blank, period. It's just a negative thought process based off of experiences which they have seen, or probably which they have gone through, where they've been in relationships and they or the man weren't taking the relationship seriously, and it turned out that all it was just a person to have sex with for a couple of months and then you're gone. So for the woman, in her mind, if she has these high demands, which has absolutely nothing to do with your character, and if you two are compatible to be together as a couple. So the high demand is how much money you're going to spend on her, how many times you're going to take her out on expensive dates, how many flowers you're going to buy her, that sort of thing. In her mind, in a woman's mind, if you meet all of those demands, one, either you're serious about her and you may stay, or two, if you do not stay, in her mind, she's going to think that she has gotten her worth out of you by having you, meet all of her demands. Ladies, here's what I want to tell you. Ladies, before I get on you, fellas, what I want to tell you is that is your fault. You're going to have to start taking responsibility for your actions. Okay? If it wasn't for you guys wanting to rack up as many women as you've had by the time you got to be the age of 50, you know that thing you guys do when you brag and you said, yeah, I've had 500 women by the time I was 30, and the other one have had 200. That sort of thing. That ridiculous competition that you fellas have going on is the reason for the mistrust in relationships and when you're dealing with women. It is the reasoning for it, because you don't take relationships seriously. How many women have, especially in urban areas, how many women can honestly say that they have witnessed more women in their family or either friends being married other than being single with children? We have to start looking at not just the statistics that are in some census or that are in some black and white book. We're talking about what we see every day. How many people you can say that I've gotten married, and look at the ages of when they have gotten married. Okay, so fellas, I need you to start looking at relationships and women in a different light, because most women don't know how to trust you. So in her mind, she has to make you do X, Y, and Z in order for her to feel comfortable. Ladies, here's what I want to tell you. All you have to do is have some serious discussions with some of these fellas that you are interested in, and you will know if this guy is for you or not. You will learn if you and this man is compatible or not. And when I say discussions and serious discussions, I'm not just talking about what goes on in the news and that sort of thing. I'm talking about life discussions. Because here's the thing, you guys don't have these conversations up front, and then when the babies get here and he's not a family man, he doesn't want to help out at home, those sort of things that really matter to you don't bother you until after you are in that predicament where he has to show up and that part of him have never shown up. You have never introduced yourself to that part of him because you have never had those types of discussions with him. So, being that you've never saw that part of him, you will never see that part of him. All right, so I need both men and women to hold yourselves accountable for the roles that you are playing in these relationships. Also, conflict, arguments, those sort of things. It's okay. It's a little healthy to have arguments. I'm not saying no. We are going to have arguments as people from time to time because we see things differently. We think differently. And sometimes, no, not sometimes, oftentimes we forget that we think differently. You have women wanting the men to think like women or upset with a man for his thought process, and you have men doing the same. I need you guys in the world. We all need everyone to understand and remember that we all think differently and respect that. Also, why is it okay to just say, oh, I don't want to talk about it? You come up with this tactic to not have a discussion about things that you don't agree with each other on. Why is it okay to do that? Let me tell you something. Don't you realize that when you do that, your partner is going to think that you have some type of hidden agenda. Hence, they're going to begin to not trust you. Anytime a person is unable to get to the bottom of the truth, anytime a person is unable to freely express themselves and have you understand them, or they understand you, it is human process to think that you have an agenda because you don't want to get to the bottom of why you are disagreeing. I always say, when we are in a relationship, we can't do whatever we want to do and expect to be blessed and have a healthy relationship. It's not going to happen. Although we are grown, and we think when we're grown we can do whatever we want to do, you can do whatever you want to do if you are single. Do whatever you want to do. But anytime you decide to get into a relationship, you cannot do whatever you want to do because you have a partner who has their own thought process, who has their own feelings, who have their own character and their own issues that they're dealing with. And when you're running around here doing whatever you want to do, what you think they're going to be thinking about you, and what do you think they're thinking you think about them? So when they're thinking this sort of way, most times instead of just bringing it to the table and talking about it, there may be arguments about it. And then sometimes some try to bring it to the table, and because you may have hidden agendas, or maybe you don't have a hidden agenda, you're thinking that they're accusing you of something, and instead of just saying, well, what's the problem? Why are you accusing me of this or this, that, and the third? It becomes an argument. And when all the smoke clear and you really think about it, the argument arises because we think we can do whatever we want to do as if we're not in relationships. That can't happen. All right, I really need you guys to pay attention to that because this is very serious, and this will determine the health and the longevity of your relationship. We can do this. We can do this. We are not animals. All right. Yes, I'm going to say it again. It's okay to argue sometimes, as long as you guys are hearing each other and listening to each other. That loud arguing and that talking over each other and nobody's hearing each other, that's no good. That's no good. But when you are having disagreements, that is healthy. But at the end of the day, I need you guys, when the smoke clear, to be able to talk about what has transpired so you can get to the bottom of it and find resolve. That's the only way you're going to be happy in relationships. Next up, I want to talk about you guys riding on the Tommy Sotomayor train. You know, Tommy Sotomayor